Here, let me get over to Facebook. I know I'm live already. It tells me it's still doing it, but it's not. And there. Okay. Oh, it's ready, but slow technology today. So I imagine some of you are already joining me, which is super cool. Go here, because I got to see the comments, you know. Yeah, I'd love to tell you I'm all that and I'm all put together, but I am Hi, Alita. Good morning. Of course. I know you're here. Let's see. I don't know what just happened. Very. Can you hear me? Yay, all these people are joining. Exciting. Okay, can you hear me? Good morning. I'm talking, but I did mute my computer so that I'm not talking over myself. So can you hear me? Can you hear me? Can you hear me now? All right, let me do this. Take that off. All right. Can you hear me? Good morning. I know it's been going like a few minutes now. Welcome, everybody. Let me turn my light down a little bit. There we go. Oh, how are y'all doing? How's everyone doing today? It's just this ebb and flow of intensity and symptoms and all kinds of fun stuff. So how are you rolling with it? How are you flowing in the ebbs and the flows of all the energy? Thank you for that. I've done it before where I had my computer muted and it was still, you could still hear me. And I thought, this is really strange, but all good. All right. My name is Marty Forrest. I am an empath. I am a light worker, grid worker, Blu-ray, coach, mentor, teacher, many hats. I wear many hats. And I get to come on here every week with my friend's page, and I get to come here and I feel lost most of the time right now. Yes, absolutely. Because we're in a really hard reset right now. Lifetime reset. I've been feeling this for a while. And then someone posted that we're in this really a big whole, your whole life kind of reset. And so it feels like we're lost. We feel lost because everything that we've done and everything that we know is not really working anymore. The relationships are just gone, whether abruptly like just leave or make a mess, they just go. So yeah, jumping right in there apparently. So this morning I was thinking and I've realized I just start posting in the morning to tell you I'm coming in and what's the topic, and I'm pondering what's the topic, and there was something I was ruminating over and I was spinning in my head, and I thought, holy crap, here I am. Hi, Carrie, trying to figure it all out. And it's whether it's the lifetime reset or how to change some relationship or how to change something about me. I'm trying to figure that out. That's where my head was at. And while I do this significantly less in my life, obviously it's still showing up. And we're shifting in huge ways this year from third dimension to fifth dimension. And many of us are in that space I call the gap. And that's where we feel lost, because all the things that we've done, just they don't feel aligned and they're not working. And then we keep trying to do that because it's comfortable and familiar. We're trying to figure out what the hell to do go forward, and we don't know. So I'm going to try to figure out what's over here because that's familiar and comfortable. It's kind of a paradox of all of it, because I've been clearing a lot of energy. I've been burping a lot this morning. That's the signal that I'm clearing a lot of energy. as I'm recognizing some things that are still showing up at those subtle layers. We're always growing and always evolving. And when we feel lost, someone else said something similar to this, and it's simply about getting okay with wherever you are, whatever place that you're in. I would love to hear from you all. Say hello. Where are you from? Holy burping Batman. Tired, lost, nothing is working, but I refuse to go back to comfort. Exactly. And yet our brain wants to go there because that's what it does. And our brain wants to create safety, even though it is an illusion. But that's what's familiar. And that's what I notice in my brain. So when we can sit back and observe what's happening, because even in that space of lost, there's still stuff going on in our mind. And there's still things that we're trying to figure out. Why is this not working? I keep doing that thing that works before, but it's not working now. Wisconsin. And so we feel lost, like in limbo, dark night of the soul. You can, any kind of label. Like I like the gap because it's this place of transition where we're truly shedding, like a snake sheds and grows and evolves into the next level. We're shedding, and we're shedding what doesn't work, and anything that's old and anything that we've done. There's a lot of our routines that we do. We get up, we go to bed, we get up, we go to bed. That made sense. Okay, so I was thinking many thoughts all at once ran through my head. We get up, we brush our teeth, we take a shower, we get ready, we do what we do in the morning. That's our routine, it's our pattern. And then when we change it up, then we miss things, right? So we don't want to change it because we want to keep doing the things that are working. Simple example, but it's what we've all done every day of our life once we learned it. But the minute that we change something or we're out of the routine, then we forget something. Not always, but you get the gist. But the mind always wants to have a solution and always wants to figure it out because that's the nature of the mind. And some of us are at varying places of this. So I had a coach some years ago. Some of you have heard me say this. Some years ago, I had this coach, and we were doing we had Voxer messaging system, and so every day I would check in with her, and she'd come back with, for like 6 to 8 months probably, she'd come back with, you don't have to figure it out, because that's my addiction, if you will. Let me figure it out so that I can feel safe, so that I can make sense of it, so that I can understand it, because I'm too afraid to take any kind of action or do anything different because I want to feel familiar, safe, and comfortable. You see the paradox of that? And I don't like to be blindsided. Can you relate to that? I don't want to be blind. I don't like it. I want to know what's coming so I can feel safe and comfortable. But this is not life. If we're really living life, it's not life. In the rooms, people will say, if you want to make God laugh, make plans. Sometimes they work, sometimes they don't. But it's the eye of my mind that is making the plan. It's not the soul guided plan. Until I can slow down and stop trying to figure it out, mind fucking myself every moment of every day, trying to figure it out, whatever it is. What is it for you? Trying to figure a relationship? How do I make him do something different or her do something different? How do I change me so that I can create a harmony in my relationship when nothing else is changing? I'm trying to be a pretzel and do whatever it takes to make it different, and it's not working. My whole life is that. It's not anymore, but I'm seeing the more, I don't know what else, I don't know what other word to use. I'm still, okay, so the deeper I go in transforming, clearing, releasing old traumas, old ways, the deeper and more subtle they become. and I see other places that they show up in a much quieter, if you will, a quieter way, right? It's much more insidious and much more subtle. In the beginning, it was very glaring and very obvious. And as we continue on this journey and peel the deeper layers, we're getting deeper things. And it comes in a much more subtle way. And the mind gets craftier because it wants to hold on to what's familiar. And we're in that space of feeling lost. Nothing's working. I refuse to go back, but I don't know how to go forward. And sometimes there's no forward yet. How do you decide which plan comes from your soul, or if you're just continuing on the same path? Does it feel the same? The soul comes from that deep, quiet, heart, intuitive place. And if it's the same, it's the same. My head's spinning it maybe in a new way, but it's still kind of the same. It still looks the same, still feels the same. There's a different resonance when we learn, because all the voices in my head are the same. So when I'm listening to my intuition, spirit talking to me, it's still in my head. It's still my voice. And so learning to discern the resonation, the vibration. So the vibration of my soul and my intuition is clear. It's clear. There's no question. And it's usually very succinct and often quiet. I don't know, thought that just flows through. And when it's coming from a soul place, it's exciting. There's a different feeling of excitement about it. When it's my head and my ego and I'm continuing on the same path, it feels, how do I say that? Hold on, let me get the words here. It feels the same. Like it might feel exciting, but it's more of an adrenaline excitement, an addictive excitement, chasing the high excitement. Does that make sense? And my mind will try to convince me it's aligned. But those feelings are all very familiar and known. And so learning, what does it feel like for you when your soul's talking to you? What does it feel like when your intuition is guiding you? What does that feel like for you? It may be different for everyone, every person. The voices, it's rare that it's outside of my head. Occasionally I've heard like the grandma's talking to me and they've been in my ear, but mostly 99% of the time, maybe 95% of the time, it's me in my head. And so learning the distinction between my voice, my mental chatter, which is harsh and abrasive and questioning and doubtful, versus the soul. We have 5 kittens and one of them just came in here. I don't know if you can hear her. I feel like I listen to my heart. The world is telling me not to. It is scary. Absolutely. When it's from my soul, it feels more settling. Hi, baby. Look at one of our babies. We have one of our babies. Hi. This is Bobby. She has no tail. She was born that way. I'm going to visit. She likes to get on my desk, but I have a lot of stuff on my desk, crystals and stuff. So I'm like, no, you can't be up there. So yeah, the soul it's more settling. It's not, I wouldn't say it's a comfortable feeling, but it's when it's soul for me, it's good morning. Hi, Diane from North Carolina. When it's soul, or it's the next step for me, it's shifted a little bit how it feels, but it's always been this rolling in my stomach. It's like, ugh. Ugh, I just want to throw up. Now, I say that it's relative. It's never happened, obviously, but it's that rolling when it's that gut instinct or that gut leading. The solar plexus is reacting to that because it's aligned and because it's the next step. So the example is years ago, I was working with a coach, more of a knowing when it's the soul. Yes, but our mind can get really crafty in that. Yes, I agree with you, but the mind gets really crafty to sound a lot like that. So really knowing the different vibration of each. It's just so clear and succinct. So the coach was a group call, and he said, what do you want to do for this next year? 2018 was January. And he listed some things, and one of them was write a book. And I just had this feeling, this rolling in my gut. I'm like, because I've been resisting it for a long time. I've been told, I've heard for a long time from people, from my spirit, you got to write a book. And I'm like, ugh. And then when he asked that and he said that, write a book, I was like, yep, that's the next step for me. So that's what I did. For me, like you added with other bodily sensations. Yes. So yeah, so really knowing. And so that was just one example. There's many things of, sometimes we think we want to do something or we think the next thing is the right action, but you got to listen to the dialogue that's going on in your head. Because with the writing a book came a lot of really uncomfortable, unsettling things because of all the mind chatter of the fear behind it. But it was a calling. It's like you're being pulled forward toward it. And the mind's chattering away. No, 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 no. Because you might be seen, you might be heard, you might fall on your face, all these things might happen. And my body and my heart is like, this is it. And you'll kind of lean into it. There's another way you can do it too, is you stand straight, up and down. You can use your body like forgot what it's called. I can see them. I'm expecting somebody to read my mind. Dowsing. That's what it is. The dowsing. The dowsing rods. You can use your body like that. So if it's from the soul, you can ask, is this for my soul? And your body will lean forward toward it if it is. You have to be well, you can be sitting, but usually you stand up and do that. So kind of a muscle testing, but you're using your body. Simple, super, super effective. Do the thing. My name is Scott. Then you need to tell the people living around you also. Yeah. Yeah. Right. Yeah. So you practice with things that my name is Marty. I'm going to fall toward that. It's obvious. Then you do something like like sugar is good for me, because we have this whole belief that sugar is not good for me. You're going to go backwards. You're going to be repelled from it. So that's another way to know. That's a physical reaction to know. Super, super simple. Super effective. I shared that with someone. She was like, oh my God, I had no idea. It's a little different technique, but it was so powerful. Hey, hi, Brad. We are antennas for energy in our environment. Yes, yes, I like that. Yes, we are antennas. Yes, absolutely. So many, many years ago, I was doing a vision quest. So it's the difference of processing. Oh, yes, because truth can first be unsettling and uncomfortable, but it holds you to it. Yes. But be mindful, because the mind will talk you right out of it because it's uncomfortable, right? And unsettling because it's new and it's different. So that's the thing about making plans. We make plans, but be prepared that you might be taking a little off course. So many years ago, I was on my first vision quest. Gosh, a lot of years ago. And I asked the question because I was around a lot of people who were sun dancers. And I asked if I would be a sun dancer. The ego, it will talk you out of it. Yes, very quickly. And so I asked the question, am I to be a sun dancer? Is that my calling? And I heard it, oh, so clear. Yes. And I was like, oh, hell no. Like, I want the answer, but I don't want to do it. Because there were several things, or many things that played into that. I'm not worthy of that. Who am I to be a dancer and carry the prayers of the people? Oh, it makes me emotional still. Just talking about it. Who am I to go and represent for the people to live. Who am I? Absolutely not. I'm not valuable. I'm not worthy. I can't. Nope. I did. I was like, I think I physically put my hand. Nope. Cannot be the right answer. What's the right answer? By my resistance and saying no, it took me several years to come back to that. And through those years, I was still doing vision quests. I didn't ask that question. And then when it was time, when things were aligning for me and it was time, there were still some things to get through, but it just started coming together and aligning. And then it happened. So we can do the walkabout. We can go on a journey. And if that's our calling and that's our soul, part of our soul mission here or purpose, we're going to come back to that. But we get in the way with this trying to figure it out. I want to understand it. Certain things have to be in place in order for me to live into that. We are all created to be beautifully flawed so we can heal and become more in line with our true purpose. Yes, we created, and we chose to be here to remember. And we experience all the things that we're not to remember who we are. Depending on what your soul purpose is. If your soul purpose is to, like I've said it here many, many times, my big overarching soul purpose in this world is to be loved. Much of the first part of my life, more than half of the first part of my life, was not that. And then when I started to get on board and to peel the layers, and I was always a seeker, and then I started getting into more of that self-help seeking at 21, got sober at 27, and I've just continued to peel and to go deeper in. And even in sobriety, many years into sobriety, I was still batshit crazy. Right? A powerful thing. And we've been programmed for a lot of things. Plus, we are clearing generations. I really want you to feel this. Most of us that are here on this path, right here, we're saying we're here to break the cycles and the patterns of our generations. That means we're carrying it all until we don't. So it's not just us. That's why it feels so hard sometimes. And it feels like we're never freaking done. We never get to the end. We never clear this shit out. It's like, when do I ever arrive? And it was just recently that I'm on this call doing this energy clearing, and she says to me, you took on, there's two separate pieces of it, but I took on the poverty and the anger of my whole freaking family for generations, because I'm here to clear it. Break the cycle. For a lot of my life, I would cycle around, got to ride into work, see you in a few minutes. Okay. Circle around the spiral. What's the fucking point of being on this planet? What's the point of being a human being? It's so hard here. Any of y'all relate to this? Man, it was just so hard. I'm like, why am I here? What is the point? I'd get good with that for a minute, and then and it's months or years in between those questions. And then I would like circle, spiral, and ask it again until I finally reached the point of I chose it. I don't have to keep trying to figure it out. I chose to be here. Exciting. I chose to be here in this life at this time for this purpose. If you're an empath, you're highly sensitive, you're a light worker, grid worker, way shower, Blu-ray, indigo, we're here. Nobody said it would be easy. And when I'm trying to figure it out, trying to make sense of it in my mind, and there's no making sense of it in the mind because the mind can't comprehend it. Cannot. I make it harder. I make it harder. It's super easy today to go, oh, it's just surrender. Well, what does that mean? I don't know. I didn't know how to do that. I had to exhaust all my avenues until I finally would go, okay, fuck you, God, I'm done. That split second, because that was my place of finally surrendering, things would shift. As long as I'm trying to control it and manipulate it and figure it out, I'm in the way. I'm just going to let that land here for a minute. Take a drink of coffee because, I don't like while I'm significantly in a much different place today, as a human, I don't know if we're ever done per se. We evolve and we ascend in our vibration and our frequency, and we clear a lot of stuff. And then it starts to get easier. Then we know how to surrender. When those things come up, we observe it and we go, oh, you're so welcome. I'm so glad you're here. So glad you're here. I love it when that happens. Like, oh, I just came across you. Divine timing. It's so beautiful. And it just like we start to implement big new ways of doing things and being, and learning to observe instead of getting stuck in the mind and traveling down that rabbit hole. Let me just sit back here like it's a movie and my mind's just spinning its little wheels, and I'm watching and I'm like, oh, well, isn't that interesting? You're just doing the same thing. You're saying the same thing in a new way. Well, let me just breathe into this. This is your key here. Breathe into this. Breathe into that thought, and what's the feeling behind it? Take a deep breath through your nose, feeling your belly, the diaphragm is expanded, and you're breathing up into here to the top of your lungs. Deep, that deep, deep belly breath, and exhale out your mouth. Breathe in through your nose and out through your mouth. Start to move the energy. And you do that until you feel it shift. Just do that. If you do nothing else, just do that. Because what happens when you breathe is you pause and you allow the energy to move, and you start to clear the trauma. We forget, right? And we just do this and we freeze and we lock it in right here. Fight, flight, freeze, or appease. Fawn. Some people say fawn. The 4 F's. So when you feel yourself, do that. I just saw myself do. It's a little delay. When you feel yourself, hold your breath, and you're breathing shallow, having a panic attack or an anxiety attack, this is your key. When you've taken on too much stuff, this is your key. I can't tell you, it's so simple, but it's so freaking powerful. And if you'll keep doing it every day, do it even when nothing's going on, just practice it. When I start to have the thoughts and my head starts running, I just start breathing. And if my head keeps spinning on that, I count the breath. So it's about equal going in and out. The mind is a historian. It only has experience. It's like the software on the computer, the hard drive, let's say on the computer, is our soul, core essence of us. And then we have all these programs, the software that's been inserted and programmed. That's the mind. It's like the software. And then we get some malware, right? It starts popping off, sending us down that rabbit hole. Nothing happening. It's like, oh, let me just take a breath right here. Take a pause. But some of the simplest, most of the simplest things are the most effective. Simple tools. All right, questions. What are your questions or comment? The design. I'm listening for what's next. The design of our mind, the illusion of our mind, is to keep us safe. That's it. How it does that does not keep us safe. Aaliyah, hello. Yes, energy's been very heavy this week. Don't know if it's a menopausal irritability or the 8-8 codes coming in, but feel irritable and tired. Yes, ma'am. Could be all that. So for those of the women, the men go through a andropause, it's called. We go through menopause, and the ascension symptoms are they mimic. They're very similar. We get hot, we sweat, irritability, and if we do things for the hormones, it doesn't really make much difference because it's ascension. So yes, it could be all that. It's been very heavy. Could have been in and out of heavy. So yes, and so when it's heavy, I feel lost, I feel irritated. I get those same things, and I just retreat. And retreating might look like, if you're out in the world because you work in the world and stuff like that, you bring your energy back in and you just keep to yourself. We don't need to splash it on people. It doesn't mean we won't, because we're human. Sometimes people just rub the right way in the energy field for us, and we're like, hey, we're overstimulated, we're already irritated. I tend to get really quiet and come back deep inside because I don't want to splash it on people. But it does come out. It'll come out sideways. So really taking care of ourselves. That's what this breath will help. Taking that deep breath. And as you take that breath, just say to yourself, bringing my energy back in. So it's not all out here picking up everything around me in addition to my own irritability and heaviness. There's a lot. There's many planets. There's the Schumann resonance, geomagnetic storms, then all the frequencies. So there's a lot of stuff. And we're becoming, but we're also we have much heightened sensitivity than we've ever had before. Anybody noticing that? The telepathy is off the charts. The intuitive hits are just like instant. The shifting is also pretty instant. Can be. So when we're trying to figure things out, we're here. When I'm trying to figure things out, I'm in my head. I don't move when I'm in my head. Does that make sense? I don't move, meaning energetically and vibrationally. I don't move. I'm just spinning. I think of the rat wheel. It's not a rat wheel, it's a hamster wheel. You just go in a circle and get nowhere. I've spun it. I've spun the story a million different ways, but I get nowhere. While I might physically be moving. I'm just talking about the energy. We won't move. Awesome. Glad you got that. Yeah. Tired, but not really. Like I can sleep at night, but I know I've taken a nap, but I can actually feel when the energy is a full reset. When I lay down, it's I can feel it shift, and then I'm awake instantly. Like, oh, I just felt a shift. Okay, time to get up. 20 to 30 minutes. So it's another way to help yourself reset when you get irritated and you're tired. Just sit down for a minute. Let your body, let your energy reset itself. Put your feet on the earth. Take the breath. Agreed on the hamster wheel. Yeah, I'm late. What did I miss? Oh, Misty, you're going to have to watch the first part of it. we're talking about like stop trying to figure it out here in our mind, because it just gets us nowhere. Yeah, that hamster wheel, because the mind, that's the mind, right? It's a historian. It only collects data. That's it. It only collects data from our experiences. So it can only spin it from our experiences. And when we're trying to spin from our experiences, we're living in the past and trying to create the future. And we're trying to create the future in a new way from an old program. Not going to work. So I'm a meditator. So I meditate and I just get really quiet with myself so I can hear. Because can be really loud. I'm pretty good today at discerning when I get that intuitive hit that comes through. Diane, I'm on Wednesday mornings here at 9 o'clock Central Time. And then I have a group, because this is my friend's page. This is Mimi's page. So I have a group called Empathic Superpower that I come on Saturday mornings and do something similar to this. So if you're interested in more of that, there's also lots of recordings here. There's lots of recordings in my group. So there's lots of stuff. Last night I kept just saying thoughts in my head instead of actual stories. Oh my goodness. Yes. So that breath work, that simple breath work will help you sleep. When I lay down at night, I put my head on the pillow, I take that inhale and I exhale out of my mouth, and I inhale and I exhale out of my mouth. And then if I have a mantra, because my head's going a little bit, or I just count the breath, when I start to count, because my head's spinning, thoughts, then I'm taking my head out of whatever's going on there. It's still going, but it gives me a different focus and gets me out of that rut. And then if you have a mantra that you like to do, or you just keep doing the breath, I go to sleep pretty quickly. And I sleep a lot better. I actually don't get up nearly as often as I was. I was getting up 3 to 4 times a night to pee. And now it's been 1 or 2. That's huge for me. It's just huge for me. For years it's been that. So that breath, it's the simplest things. The simplest things are often the most effective. The mind, back to the mind, I'm trying to figure it out. The mind is meant to be, I think I have cat hairs in my eyes. The mind is meant to be the servant to the soul and the intuition. We have been taught to allow the mind to run the show, to be the master. We've been programmed from in our DNA through our generations, in the womb, whatever our mom's stuff was, we get programmed. We're just imprinted in our DNA with all that stuff. Then we come into the world, and then we're programmed and we're trained. It's the nature of the mind. And it's by design. This is not an accident. I was reading something just yesterday. The way to consciousness, the way that we evolve is through the human body, through being in a form. When we're in spirit, we're not evolving in the same way. So the way that we evolve is to be in this body. Like, that makes complete sense to me. Even though my mind says, I don't like it, it's hard, I don't want to do this. Reprogramming is that supposed to be a little brain on there? I can't really tell. I think it is, yes. So yes. And the reprogramming is taking that breath, and in that breath, taking a pause. Because when we breathe, we expand. When we breathe only in the top, we're in fight or flight. Oh, DNA. Now I can tell. Thank you. Yes, reprogramming the DNA. When we shift our consciousness, because we've slowed down, we've paused, we've embodied, we've embraced. We shift the consciousness. And in shifting our consciousness, we shift our DNA. We reprogram our DNA. Super, super effective. Not super simple all the time. Hi. Thank you for that. Hi, Scott. The way for us to be conscious is to slow down. The way to slow down is to take a breath. Take that breath and take that breath over and over. I'm just taking a breath for you, Malia, because I was like, oh my gosh, yes. I've heard a lot of Catholic recovery. I broke the generational curse of guilt and shame of Catholicism. That is monumental. Monumental. Congratulations. That is so freaking huge. That's a deep, deep programming. Deep. Becoming more conscious requires that we slow down. You're very welcome. How many of us, we get so busy, we keep ourselves so busy so that we're distracted all the time? Come back up here. Mimi here. I've been spinning around looking for a job and I'm loving this. Good, good. Mimi, you're looking for a job, so you have to get aligned with it. Because in this, hold on. Take a breath. Everybody just take that breath with me right here. Let's help shift that energy because I felt it. I was like, oh. When we're looking for a job, just a job that's not aligned, we're not going to find it. It's not going to happen. And when it does, if it does, we're just miserable. And it doesn't last very long. Because now we're going to try to force it because I need a paycheck to pay my bills. I've looked for some jobs and I just go, I can't do it. I just can't do it. Because when I moved, it was about, I stopped doing the things that were bringing in income and really just dove into, here I am as a mentor coach. This is how I make my money. But that's not the only way, right? The universe provides from anywhere. But we have a belief, I can only make it from somebody paying me or getting a paycheck. So if you're looking for a job, look for a job that you're aligned to, that resonates, that feels like this is something I can get behind. I've had other friends, empaths, light workers. You might find a job, but it's if you're not aligned in it and it doesn't feel good to you, it's just not going to be good. Well, it'll pay the bills. It's just not good. So the role here is to get into alignment with yourself so that you know what your next step is instead of just trying to get a job. And this is where the breathing, meditation, and then maybe you hear something like, oh, turn here, go there, apply here. Maybe you meet someone that has a perfect fit for you. Was stuck in fight and flight. Didn't know that changed my breathing because I lived in it too long. Yes, just recently reset my breathing back to diaphragm deep. Yes, 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 yes. Most is probably fair. Most of us, if we're breathing up here, we don't even realize it. Sometimes it's not just about the money. Maybe, yes. Oh, sorry, let me finish that. Maybe you'll be the light in the place of darkness. Yes, you still have to know that calling for yourself. That's accurate, but you still got to know that calling for yourself. If like, so let me say it like this. When we moved from California to Oklahoma, coming up on this around the 1st of September, 3 years that we've been here. We had looked at other places. And it was it was a soul calling. It was a soul movement because we knew it was time to leave California. And we looked at other places because we wanted to stay kind of close to California so we could visit family and just make a drive. And well, nothing was flowing. And we come to Oklahoma every year for Sundance. Now we come and support. We aren't dancing anymore, but we come and support. So it seems logical. It has to feed your soul, yes. Job that is, I'm working a humbling job that I can survive on, but I also bring a smile and sarcasm to those who need it. I love that, Scott. Of course you do. Of course you do. You have practiced to be light in a dark space or in a heavy space. Some people aren't as practiced. And so if they go into a dark space, it's not going to be very easy. Even though you're there to change, to alter the environment with your presence. You got to know what your presence is. And you do. And you'll know exactly when it's time to go. So I knew that wherever we moved, we were bringing our light and our healing energy. And we moved to a place we'd never even heard of. We left California. Our house was in contract. It was closing by the time we got back, and we rented back for a couple months so we could pack up and move. And it was almost like throwing the dart at the board. The day we were supposed to be leaving, we found a house online. We never got to see it, and we bought it sight unseen. The first 4 address numbers, 1155, the first hotel room we stayed on the drive, 1155. So there was all these synchronistic, I mean, I could never have planned that here. It would have never been so amazing and so beautiful. And we still had, when we got here, the contract had not even been signed yet. I think we signed it on the way to get to close the deal. I mean, it just, I still get speechless when I tell you about it because it was so incredible. And when we got here, it was like, ew, what's going on? What the hell were we thinking? Why did we do this? That's just following the universe for sure. I'm right. I would have needed an inspection. We had an inspection. Lou is a real estate agent in California, so he's expecting that they do the same things here, but they don't. It's different here. Anyway, that's a whole other side story. There was lots of prayer and lots of being present, lots of stillness, which I had to practice because I was so uncomfortable being still, and raising our own vibration to bring our light here. And not just here where we live, but to this place. And I have no explanation to tell you how that is. I just knew that's what was happening. And no matter what the doubt was saying, I just got to trust that. Because we knew it was time. We knew it was aligned. And it all just flowed. There were hiccups, but it all just flowed. I, trying to figure it all out, could never have made it happen. Not that way. So look for those miracles in your world. Just focus on the miracles. What are the miracles for you today? For Scott, it's bringing a smile to someone else's face. Making someone laugh because you're sarcastic with them. So, following that, who said that? The job, come back up here, Mimi. Yeah. So, yeah. So just, yes, thanks. Yes, my intuition hits me and I walk in and ask if they need help when I get on. When I got on Indeed, yikes. Thanks, breathe more, and I needed to hear this again. Bring your light wherever you go. Yes, so true. I'm living mine right now. Love it, love it, love it, love it, love it. You just finding people with my mindset, right? I was just having this conversation with someone yesterday about I think I might have to move. He lives on the lake here in Eufaula. We'd never even heard of Eufaula. This is the biggest lake in Oklahoma, Lake Eufaula. And he's on the lake. He's in a friend's house and on the lake. And anyway, it's he's just like the people just I gotta go somewhere where they have the mindset that I do. And I'm like, well, you can do that. You can go to a bigger place. It doesn't mean that you'll find those soul connections. That's what I've seen along the way. I don't always find those soul connections no matter where I'm at. I'll find maybe one or two. There are a lot of jokes, Scott. Stop it. Yeah, there are a lot of jokes with you, Paula. I don't say them, but I hear other people say them. I'm like, oh, geez. It's really beautiful here. It's really beautiful. And it's taken a while to fall in love with it. Because there were still moments of like, what the hell are we thinking? And then sometimes we're driving around, we're like, we live in Oklahoma. Holy smokes. And it's gorgeous. We're in Southeast Oklahoma, and there's, well, they call them mountains. We came from California, so they're not mountains. They're like hills. But it's beautiful. And there's trees. We have a lot of trees. We live in a place 7.5 acres with trees. And a seasonal creek that comes through it. I mean, I had certain things I had listed that I wanted to have, and I didn't think we had water on the place, but we were close enough to the lake, so let that be okay. And then we had enough rain one year, and the creek's running. I'm like, oh my God, we have water on the property. So it checked all my boxes. Yeah. All right. Anything else? That's awesome. It was awesome. It's so awesome. I just, yeah. And Lou shares a story. He was out in his shop right after we'd moved here, and he just got all right, Scott, you have a beautiful day. See you next week. He got these prickles up his neck, and the message you need to go inside. So the ancestors were taking care of something. I get prickles just talking about that. I wasn't there, but he came in and he said, oh, this has just happened. I said, well, and he listened because he doesn't get that type of feeling very often, but he listened, closed the shop down and came in the house. And that was early. That was early on when we were here. So I know there was a lot of cleaning up happening for whatever had been done or had happened here. I don't know. I don't need to know. We are here to be light in the world. And when we get stuck in our own crap and we're trying to figure things out, I don't know that it's that we dim our light. I don't know how. It's not we can't see our own light. Other people can see it, but we don't see it because we're so in our hamster wheel, running down the rabbit hole, in our pity pot. Because I've never done any of that. And I don't like me when I'm in that space. I don't even like being around me when I'm in that space. It's not very often, but sometimes it happens today. Used to be a whole lot more. So it's just right. So we're here to raise the vibration, yes, with our presence and being light. And how we do that, how we raise the vibration is by raising our own. We don't have to figure out how to do them or do that for anyone else, us. We raise our vibration and our presence in the world, wherever we go, whatever we do, raises the vibration. Just like Scott was talking about his job, he raises the vibration. Sometimes it's really thick and heavy. And if we are not able to stay in a high vibration within ourselves, it doesn't mean we don't have our moments. But if we're not able to maintain that high space and get out of the mental chatter, we join them. That's why I was talking to Mimi about that. Yes, we're light, but if we're not solid in that, and it doesn't mean 100% of the time, I'm not saying that. Yes, yes, yes. Always learning about energy. I'm not saying that's 100% of the time. That's not even possible. It's not realistic. There are times that we need to regroup. There are times that we need to step back. There are those times. But we're always a light. If we go there here in our mind, we'll lower our vibration and join them. I'm tuning in now. This all is resonating within me very strongly. You're very welcome. I'm very glad. Very glad. I love it when that happens. It's divine timing of people show up and they're like, oh my God, this is exactly what I needed. Happens to me too. All right, lovelies. I am doing a 4-week, I'm shifting gears totally, doing a 4-week boundaries, what's the word? Workshop? It's Badass Boundaries Boss. I did a free one on physical boundaries and emotional boundaries. This one is $111 and it's on time and energy boundaries. And it's the Wednesdays in September, 6 o'clock Central Time. Hold on. I got sidetracked on that. It's all recorded. It's all yours. And if you decide that you want to do this, you also get the other one that I did. The one that I did, I don't know, a month ago now, I think. The first boundaries course. I'm like, it's going to be a series of boundaries. So for 4 weeks, Telegram, so I can coach you in Telegram and you have support of who's in there, share your successes, where you're struggling. And all right, Misty. And set your boundaries, create your boundaries. It is the way to, it's all this stuff that we're talking about. Boundaries is the key. It's the key for all of us. It took me a long time to learn that, and it was always super uncomfortable. No, that's not what I wanted. So if that's of interest to you, I'm going to put the link here. You can check it out. It's a user thing, and it's going to populate and show you something different, I think. Maybe not. Anyway, if you would like to join me for 4 weeks, it's on a Wednesday night instead of Wednesday morning at 6 o'clock on Zoom. Check out the link. You can reach out to me if you have any questions. Do you have any other questions here? All right, Misty had to go. No, okay. Knowing you are light in someone else's darkness, it helps bring energy to brighten ours at the same time. Yes. I used to hear, I didn't used to hear, cancel that. I would hear, meet them where they are. Heard that for years. How many of y'all have heard that when you're helping someone or you're up here in your vibration and someone else is in here and you meet them where they are and like, that didn't resonate for me anymore. Because if I meet them where they are, that means I'm lowering my vibration to be where they are. This is what I made it mean. And I'm like, let me reach them where they are. I can reach my hand out, right? Give them a hand up, not a hand out. So I can reach them where they are. But I'm not going to meet them where they are. I'm no longer willing in my world to lower my vibration to be in someone else's when they're in that state. So reach them where they are. Be the light in their darkness, but don't join them. All right. Anything else, lovelies? Check out the link if you are interested in joining me for 4 weeks of boundaries, time boundaries, and energy boundaries. I'm super powerful. I'm super excited. I love it. I love it. I have become a master of boundaries. School of Hard Knocks. So I love to be able to share that and help us all know where we end and the world begins and have a sense of safety and have that sense of peace inside of ourselves so that whatever the world is bringing our way, we know how to navigate it. All right, lovelies. Not seeing any other comments. So have a beautiful, beautiful week. Check out Empathic Superpower. That's my personal group. And I come in here I'm coming here. I go on that page in that group on Saturday mornings and get it all out there. Usually sometime around 9, like this. Depends. It depends on what else I have going on, but Saturday mornings. All right, lovelies. So join me there. I'll be back here on next Wednesday at 9 a.m. Central Standard Time. Have a beautiful week. I love you. I appreciate you. Namaste. And now I got to get over to my Zoom page. So give me a second. All right. See you all next week.